Welcome to the Mystery Snapshots of History, where the past holds more secrets than you ever imagined. Formula 1 driver Alonso de Portago is photographed receiving a kiss just moments before his final race in Italy in 1957. This image was captured during the Mille Miglia shortly before he was involved in a serious crash. Soldiers spend Christmas in the trenches during the 1914 conflict in a rare pause along the front lines. In some areas, unofficial truces allowed for greetings and small gestures of goodwill between opposing sides. Tanya Roberts appears in 1982 portraying Kiri, a character from the fantasy adventure film The Beastmaster. The film stood out for its bold visual style and gained popularity among fans of the genre throughout the 1980s. In 1986, teams of workers known as liquidators operate near the damaged reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant during containment efforts. They carried out vital tasks to help prevent the spread of radioactive contamination. On May 21, 1927, Charles Lindbergh became the first person to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean, piloting the Spirit of St. Louis from New York City to Paris. He completed the non-stop journey in roughly 33 hours. The Imperial Camel Corps participated in desert campaigns in 1918, using camels as a strategic mode of transport. These animals were considered more resilient than horses in arid environments, and over extended distances, crowds gather around the airship Hindenburg at Lakehurst, New Jersey in May 1936 during one of its first visits to the United States. At that time, the airship was seen as a symbol of luxury in transatlantic travel. A turbine is being installed at Hoover Dam in 1933 during the construction phase of this major American engineering project. These turbines were designed to generate hydroelectric power for millions across the western United States. Workers construct the shell-shaped roof of the new Sydney Opera House in 1963. The design by Danish architect Utzon required advanced and complex engineering technique. A car converted to run on wood gas travels as an alternative fuel source during the 1940s. This method became widespread during gasoline shortages, especially in wartime conditions. A reusable shopping list is shown in a 1950s kitchen, with organized categories designed to simplify household planning. Hollywood actor Steve McQueen meets actress Jane Mansfield at a film industry event in the early 1960s. Both were major cinema icons of the era, known for their charisma and popularity with audiences. Sophia Loren is photographed at the Venice Film Festival in 1955 during a pivotal moment in her rise to international fame. Known for her elegance and talent, she emerged as one of Italy's leading actresses of the. In the early 1950s, several boys are seen stopping to watch a Marilyn Monroe film in Suriname. The scene highlights the global reach of American film culture. Streets in New York City in 1894 show heavy horse manure buildup, reflecting the challenges of the city's primary urban transport at the time. Horses pulling streetcars and carriages created serious sanitation and public health. In 1950, Chinese government troops advance into Tibetan territory, initiating a new period of political control in the region. This led to major shifts in local governance and international relations. A mobile surgical unit of the U.S. Army operates near combat zones in Korea in 1952. These units, later known as MASH, provided medical care close to the front lines and inspired the popular television series. A young Filipino woman is exhibited at the Coney Island Zoo in New York City in 1914 as part of a human display. These presentations were marketed as entertainment and reflected colonial-era perspectives now widely rejected. Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell are photographed during filming on the set of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes in 1952. The musical comedy became one of the biggest hits of its time and secured their status as cinema icon. In 1987, computers are featured in a public parade in East Germany, representing the country's technological progress. These machines were transported on vehicles during civic events to showcase industrial development Passengers aboard the upper deck of a Qantas Airways Boeing 747 in 1971 enjoy a comfortable first-class experience. The space featured wide seats and a dedicated social lounge area. Walt Disney is pictured alongside Squadron Leader Roald Dahl of the Royal Air Force during a 1940s meeting. Each made notable contributions in their respective fields. Disney and entertainment. Dahl is a pilot and acclaimed author. A group of people poses in front of a giant sequoia tree in California in 1898. Sequoias are recognized as some of the oldest and largest living trees on Earth. Dinosaur replicas are delivered to the Boston Museum of Science in 1984 as part of an educational exhibit. The pieces were carefully transported and assembled to spark public interest in paleontology. An ice hockey game in Sweden in 1959 is halted due to extreme weather conditions. A heavy blizzard covers the rink, making it impossible for players and spectators to around 1930. The German-designed G-38 aircraft features passenger cabins built into the leading edges of its wings. The model offered exceptional space and comfort for its time, with windows positioned. Atlantic City Beach is crowded in 1908 with bathers wearing typical swimwear of the period. It was one of the most popular vacation destinations on the U.S. East Coast during the early 20th century. In 1952, Betty White is photographed at her Los Angeles home with her dog in a quiet personal moment. At the time, she was already active in television and known for her love of animals. Weightlifter and strength athlete Paul Anderson earns a gold medal for the United States at the 1956 Melbourne Olympic Games. He became widely celebrated for his extraordinary physical feats. Adrien Carton de Wiart is photographed in 1943 after a military career marked by surviving 3 wars and 2 plane crashes. During his service, he sustained multiple injuries to the face, leg, and hip, and lost. Residents of Hanoi and Vietnam wait inside dugouts filled with water up to their chests during an air raid alert in 1967. These makeshift shelters offered temporary protection while awaiting the all-clear signal. The first-class gym aboard the Titanic in 1912 featured advanced exercise equipment for its time, including stationary bicycles and rowing machines. Located near the wealthiest passengers' quarters, the facility reflected the ship's luxury and innovation. A businessman and his secretary continue working inside a swimming pool during a heat wave in Berlin, Germany, in 1926. The image shows a creative way to handle high temperatures without interrupting. In 1927, workers service a car suspended on an improvised stand inside a garage, showing maintenance practices before modern safety equipment became common. Boys work at a coal breaker plant owned by the Lehigh Valley Coal Company in Pennsylvania in the early 1900s. Known as breaker boys, they manually removed impurities from coal. People line up to buy sausages in the former Soviet Union during the 1980s. Scenes like this were frequent during food shortages and rationing in major cities. One of Motorola's first portable phones is introduced in 1973, marking the beginning of the mobile communication era. Though large and heavy, the device represented a major technological. A female poker player in 1937 wears a special mask to hide her facial expressions during a game. The accessory was designed to prevent opponents from reading her reactions. During the 1970s, a child manually changes the channel on a television. A common practice before electronic remote controls became widespread in many households. The youngest often served as the family's remote. Workers restore a Viking runestone in the Västergötland region of Sweden in 1936. Preserving its ancient inscriptions, a bullet pierces a cartridge belt worn by a German soldier in the 1940s. The shot was noted for its precision, striking directly within the cartridge. A child poses with one of Norway's early telephone models in a studio photo from 1907. The wall-mounted device includes separate earpieces and a side crank. typical of the era's systems. A man looks out over the Grand Canyon in Arizona in 1914. Standing at the edge of a rock formation, Ted Drake is carried unconscious off the field during a 1938 match. Before concussion protocols or formal substitutions were in place, after regaining consciousness, he returned to the game, which was common at the time. In 1926, schoolboys enthusiastically depart for the Christmas holidays, riding on a luggage-filled wagon. Around 1929, a young Marilyn Monroe appears with her mother on a beach in a rare moment from her early life. Born Norma Jean Mortensen, she experienced family instability before rising to fame. Workers construct the GO Tower in London in 1964. Operating at great heights without the modern safety gear used today, the tower was built for telecommunications and became one of the UK's tallest buildings at the time. Elizabeth Taylor is seen washing her Cocker Spaniel, Amy, in 1949 during a quiet moment away from the film studios. At age 17, she was already considered one of Hollywood's most promising stars. A man poses beside his car in 1934, decorated with signs reading, "Just Divorced," a playful twist on the common "just married" tree. Goats are seen climbing argan trees in Morocco in 1954 to reach the fruit that forms part of their diet. This behavior, common in the country's southwest, is noted for its unusual appearance. Captain Kirk stands beside the Jupiter 8 car in a 1965 episode of the original science fiction series. The vehicle, designed by aliens in the storyline, appeared on a planet with a culture similar to Earth's. On the 2nd of October, 1930, workers lay bricks by hand to pave 28th Street in Manhattan. The process required precision and physical effort, reflecting infrastructure practices of the time. The world's smallest manned airplane, the Wee, is introduced in 1948 as a lightweight engineering novelty. With no enclosed cockpit, the pilot sat atop the fuselage, fully exposed to the elements during flight. Xavier Mertz climbs an ice crevasse during the Australasian Antarctic expedition, led by Douglas Mawson in 1912. The expedition faced extreme conditions, and Mertz was one of the members who did not return. London police officers test life jackets by jumping into the River Thames during the 1940s. The drill was part of emergency preparedness training for both urban and port environment. The Wall of Death in Massachusetts, around the 1930s, featured daring motorcycle performances, sidecar carts, and even a Harley-Davidson motorcycle is seen fitted with a front-mounted baby seat in a photograph taken around 1952. The improvised accessory reflects an era when transportation safety standards were still evolving. Gymnasts are shown performing acrobatic exercises in Heinrich Hammann's documentation of the Turnverein movement. This German association promoted physical education, Discipline, and collective spirit. Ellen DeGeneres poses for her prom photo around 1976 at Atlanta High School in Atlanta, Texas. Dressed formally, she takes part in a typical American high school tradition. Passengers rest in a first-class sleeper car in 1929, where fold-down beds and privacy curtains provide a sense of comfort. These compartments offered luxury accommodations during long railway journeys, particularly in Europe and the United States. An extreme punishment method is recorded in Shiraz, Iran, using a cannon as the device. In a period predating modern justice standards, such practices were common in earlier centuries, especially under military or colonial rule. A couple poses beside their car during a road trip, accompanied by their baby and dog. In a classic family travel scene, students participate in a potato race at Public School Number 44 in New York City in 1919. The event was part of school programs aimed at encouraging physical activity and teamwork. A U.S. Air Force C. 124 aircraft transports the fuselage of a Lufthansa Junkers in Berlin around 1956. The mission involved moving disassembled aircraft for maintenance. Or 3 generations of women stand in front of a stone house in rural Ireland in 1927, wearing simple everyday attire. The image reflects family bonds and traditional customs in farming communities. Cars make their way up one of San Francisco's famous hills during the 1950s, with visible cable car tracks embedded in the pavement. The scene highlights the city's classic architecture and vintage. Couples are captured dancing swing in a Mississippi club in 1939 to live music and choreographed steps. The energetic style was widely popular and a mainstay of nightlife across the United States at the time. Students collaborate on a school project in Pleasanton, Texas in 1957, showing an example of an integrated and cooperative learning environment. Yankees fans dressed in formal attire wait in line for the 1923 World Series in New York City. It was customary then for men to attend sporting events in suits, hats, and ties. A motorcycle patrol in Germany is photographed with carrier pigeons during a reconnaissance mission in a time before modern surveillance systems. Children in the outskirts of Modena, Italy, use pulleys to cross a river on their way to school in 1959. The image reflects a traditional and challenging transportation method in rural regions. A Dairy Queen store celebrates its grand opening in 1957 at the corner of Moore Park Street and Bachman Avenue in Studio City. To mark the occasion, the shop distributed free ice cream to local residents. A pre-game photo captures opening day between the Boston Beaneaters and the New York Giants at the Polo Grounds in New York City. Sigmund Freud walks beside his daughter Anna Freud in 1938 as they depart Vienna for London. The relocation followed Austria's annexation during a time of rising tension in Europe. People enjoy a leisure day at Tajik Sea Beach in the Tajik Soviet Socialist Republic in 1975. The area was a popular destination for locals seeking relaxation and outdoor activities. A woman is seen cutting her birthday cake during a family celebration in Iran in 1973. The moment was photographed 5 years before the social and political shifts brought on by the 1979 revolution. Winners of a car race in Moscow in 1982 received tires as prizes during a local sporting event. At the time, items like tires were valuable and difficult to obtain, making the women shop at a grocery store in the 1940s. Selecting items from shelves neatly arranged with period-appropriate packaging. Store clerks were still required to weigh and bag products by hand. A set is arranged on the 10th of November, 1937, showing an enlarged image of Benito Mussolini behind a camera alongside the propaganda slogan, "Cinematography is the most powerful weapon," and a Ringling Brothers circus elephant disembarks from a train car in 1963 during one of the group's frequent city-to-city moves across the United States. These transfers were part of the logistical operations behind the traveling. A woman cleans her kitchen floor in the 1950s using brushes strapped to her feet while reading. The improvised method reflects creative approaches to making household chores more efficient. The Intourist Hotel overlooking the Kremlin and Red Square in Moscow is photographed in 1978 as a symbol of Soviet hospitality. The building was a key accommodation for foreign guests visiting. Kindergarten children take part in group activities in Latvia in 1965, while the country was part of the Soviet Union. The classroom environment emphasized collective development, discipline, and early social. Hatters designed new styles in an Estonian workshop in 1972. Production was done manually, blending traditional craftsmanship with the modern fashion of. Members of the band Kiss are photographed in 1972, prior to adopting the makeup style that would later become their visual trademark.